The police state ends with me. We've made it one more day. The amendments that were violated against me were the 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Today we'll focus on the First Amendment. We've gone over all the others, counting down to the first here. The First Amendment of the United States Constitution states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right for the people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Freedom of speech, you may have noticed in there, is in the First Amendment. It's kind of important, don't you think? Well, not the Bartlesville Police. They don't believe First Amendment freedom of speech is important. So again, you can't say, well, since you are asserting your rights, we're going to hold that against you and say you're a criminal and use that as an excuse to tear your house apart and life apart and detain you, interrogate you, and breach many of your civil rights. In the warrant affidavit, again, written by the Bartlesville Police, they write that my harassment complaints in 2009 were unfounded. That's a lie. James Phillips Medical Center admitted to the harassment complaints I made. They admitted that the complaints I made were correct, that they did occur. Write to the EEOC, and they know that because we both have a written document from the EEOC stating it. So they lied to the police. But the police know this, as they have the document as well. They just went along with the lie because they're following the orders of a large corporation. As I mentioned in a previous video, Mike Moore, the president of James Phillips Medical Center, is just not telling the truth and stating I never informed him of the harassment in 2008 and 2009, which I did. If you've watched all the videos, which if you haven't, you really must, as each video adds to the facts, and you really won't get what I'm saying today without the backing information. You know how they just said there, sure, we did the things Mark complained about, but he didn't really complain to us, to Mike Moore, which I did, per policy, again and again. To deny it is simply not the truth. It's a lie. And to tell the police I just made the whole thing up and it is unfounded is a complete lie and a false police report, a serious crime. I mean, look what it's caused. But the Bartlesville Police don't care, as they're just doing what they're told by James Phillips Medical Center anyway. The warrant affidavit also mentions that in 2009, James Phillips Medical Center had their attorney send me a threatening letter claiming my complaints about harassment were in themselves harassment. Now get that. They were saying that if I complain about being harassed, then that makes me the harasser. That is circular reasoning and just stupid. I mean, there are whistleblower laws, there are EEOC laws, there are explicit laws stating that you can complain to anyone about your harassment. To say that if you complain about harassment, you are becoming the harasser, ugh. I mean, come on, what kind of logic is that to put in a written court document? Ugh. The United States of America has laws about workplace harassment. Much of them are overseen by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC I keep mentioning. I'll put a link down in the video description you can click on or cut and paste to see the law and explicit protected speech and activities that include such things as in-person picketing, which I never did. I just told people about the harassment and my complaint by letter. Not only do I have a First Amendment right to do so, because it's the truth, to complain to anyone, there is an explicit law that allows me to do it. Again, you can click on it in the description and take you to it and you can read it. Now I know we've gone over this in another video before, but let me just repeat it. I have an explicit, meaning the law spells out that I have the right to do this. It's not something that you just have to kind of infer from the law. It's explicit, an explicit legal right to complain about harassment to anyone. You can't say me doing this is in any way breaking the law doing anything wrong or as a justification to tear my house apart, detain me, steal my property, call me a criminal, and more. But that is exactly what the Bardsleville police did in the warrant to the judge, and that is perjury. You cannot say I committed a crime or a harassing act, which is a crime, when I did not. That is false testimony and perjury, a felony. But that's what the Bardsleville police did. That's what the district attorney went along with, and that's what the judge signed off on. And there's no way that those people didn't know exactly what they were doing, breaching my civil rights. Also, let me point out that the person who harassed me then, after I resigned to get away from her, then called me at home and threatened me. After I quit to get away from her, she did commit a criminal act by threatening me to get me and to withhold money from my final paycheck as a way to get me to shut up and to get computer files so she could delete offensive emails I had received. That is extortion, to hold money out against someone so that they can cover up a criminal act. Extortion. No one cares about that, though. I mean, nobody has done anything about that. Also, that lawyer that Jane Phillips Medical Center had send me a threatening letter, threatening me with criminal prosecution back in 2009, committed what is known as a disbarable offense. An EEOC complaint is a civil matter, not criminal. It's a civil matter. And if a lawyer threatens criminal action in a civil matter, they can be disbarred for that, lose their law license. You cannot threaten someone with jail and Bardsleville police state tactics to keep them from asserting their freedom of speech rights and explicit legal right to complain to anyone about harassment and try to pressure them to shut up about it. We have this thing called the Constitution and civil rights, but then no one seems to care about that anymore. You cannot say we're going to threaten jail and Bardsleville police state tactics on you, criminal prosecution, if you don't shut up about complaining about us harassing you. You can't do that. Of course you can, because nobody's going to hold them accountable, but it's not legal. It's just sickening. The warrant affidavit, again, is just gibberish and full of so many lies and BS. It is amazing. The media reported to me that every lawyer they had look at it, of the one media that would even look at the story, that every lawyer they had look at it said it was outrageous and awful, the warrant affidavit. I'll tell you something about the warrant affidavit. And remember, you can get it from the Washington County of Oklahoma courthouse. You don't have to take my word for it. That warrant affidavit is like something from the book 1984 by George Orwell. It is Big Brother walking right over a citizen. It is nauseating. The police state ends with me. With that said, I'll see you tomorrow.